Other works attributed to Plato. Several other works, including 13 letters and 18 epigrams, have been attributed to Plato. These other works are generally called the Spuria and the Dubia. The Spuria were collected among the works of Plato, but suspected as frauds even in antiquity. The Dubia are those presumed authentic in later antiquity, but which have more recently been doubted. 10 of the Spuria are mentioned by Diogenes Laertius at 3.62. 5 of these are no longer extant: the Mydon or horse breeder, Phaeacians, Chelidon, Seventh Day, and Epimenides. 5 others do exist: the Halcyon, Axiochus, Demodocus, Eryxius, and Sisyphus. To the 10 Diogenes Laertius lists, we may uncontroversially add On Justice, On Virtue, and the Definitions, which was included in the medieval manuscripts of Plato's work, but not mentioned in antiquity. Works whose authenticity was also doubted in antiquity include the Second Alcibiades, or Alcibiades II, Epinomis, Hipparchus, and Rival Lovers, also known as either rivals or lovers, and these are sometimes defended as authentic today. If any of these are authentic, the Epinomis would be in the late group, and the others would go with the early or early transitional groups. 17 or 18 epigrams, poems appropriate to funerary monuments or other dedications, are also attributed to Plato by various ancient authors. Most of these are almost certainly not by Plato, but some few may be authentic. Of the ones that could be authentic, Cooper, 1997, 1742 names 1, 2, 7, and especially 3 as possibly authentic. 1 is a love poem dedicated to a student of astronomy, perhaps at the Academy. Another 2 appears to be a funerary inscription for that same student. Another 3 is a funerary inscription for Plato's Syracusan friend Dion, in which the author confesses that Dion maddened my heart with Eros. And the last, 7, is a love poem to a young woman or girl. None appear to provide anything of great philosophical interest. The dubia present special risks to scholars. On the one hand, any decision not to include them among the authentic dialogues creates the risk of losing valuable evidence for Plato's, or perhaps Socrates' philosophy. On the other hand, any decision to include them creates the risk of obfuscating the correct view of Plato's or Socrates' philosophy by including non-Platonic or non-Socratic elements within that philosophy. The dubia include the first Alcibiades, or Alcibiades I, Minos, and Theages, all of which, if authentic, would probably go with the early or early transitional groups, the Cleitophon, which might be early transitional, or middle, and the letters, of which the 7th seems the best candidate for authenticity. Some scholars have also suggested the possibility that the 3rd may also be genuine. If any are authentic, the letters would appear to be works of the late period, with the possible exception of the 13th letter, which could be from the middle period. Nearly all of the dialogues now accepted as genuine have been challenged as inauthentic by some scholar or another. In the 19th century in particular, scholars often considered arguments for and against the authenticity of dialogues whose authenticity is now only rarely doubted. Of those we listed as authentic above in the early group, only the Hippias Major continues occasionally to be listed as inauthentic. The strongest evidence against the authenticity of the Hippias Major is the fact that it is never mentioned in any of the ancient sources. However, relative to how much was actually written in antiquity, so little now remains that our lack of ancient references to this dialogue does not seem to be an adequate reason to doubt its authenticity. In style and content, it seems to most contemporary scholars to fit well with the other Platonic dialogues.